W800 time. Oh, we have our 2019 Kawasaki W800 Cafe. So if you don't know, Kawasaki has brought this thing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, always retro styled. This year, or this resurgence, reinventation of it, comes from the W650. The W650 was, of course, carbureted, made, I don't know how much horsepower, not much, but it couldn't pass emissions, so they did away with it, and now they brought it back again in 2019. If you're wondering why it's 2020 and I'm riding one, they don't have a 2021 yet at Wayne's. This bike, I need to go buy a scarf, maybe a cardigan sweater. Where the hell is my scarf? I need a scarf on this bike. I have to drive this to the closest locally owned, organic, cruelty-free coffee bean, locally sourced coffee shop. I need a MacBook Pro also, probably the Air, so that way I have to spend more money on accessories. I mean, I'm halfway there. I've got an iPad, right? So let's talk more about what this bike has to offer. It's got about 51 horsepower, makes in mid-40s for torque. It is a torquey little engine. It's 5-speed transmission. As you can see down here, the gauge cluster is, you know, pretty basic. Nothing crazy about it. Of course, controls are all set up. You do have adjustable levers on this. I'm cruising at 50. It's cruising at 3,000 RPMs, but it can still pull up. Yeah, so that's nice and torquey. Seating position, little leaned over the front for that, you know, nice cafe racer feel. They didn't attach anything to the forks though. They attached, it's just a, it looks like a standard 7/8 handlebar with clamps, and then they kind of had it bent out and then back. That would probably be something that a hipster would pay a shop to do or something. But you don't have to, because Kawasaki already did it. Kawasaki has their stuff together. They are in tune with the hipster world. And it's also not just hipsters. I mean, honestly, dudes back in this, like, they made like a W series back in the, I think it was 67 to 75. So people that are looking to recapture that, you know, kind of bike feel, but want an updated, fuel injected, modern suspension, awesome headlight. It's got an LED headlight. I was checking the tire pressure on this thing before I took it out, and definitely blinded myself. So there's that. You'd definitely be able to see great at night on this thing. It does have this little windscreen that I'm not sure really does much. Is this light ever going to turn here? We're all just kind of hanging out here waiting. It does have a nice little sound to it though. It is a parallel twin air-cooled bike. I will say low speed, like in a parking lot, it feels heavy and cumbersome. And I'm not saying it to like down the bike, that's just legitimately how it feels to me. But she's got a little, she a little thick. She a little thick. And I'd say probably in all the right places. Suspension wise, it's nice and comfy. Big old comfy seat. The mirrors though, I'm kind of jealous. These mirrors are awesome. I can actually see what's going on behind me without having to chicken wing it. Transmission's nice and smooth. Plenty of pickup for jumping around in your local metropolitan area on your way to your coffee shop or secondhand used clothing store. It's got a nice flat power band to it. Like the torque starts down low. I think it makes peak torque like right around 3,000 RPM. So that's pretty damn good. I must say. I'm kind of short, so I feel like I'm leaned over a little bit. Almost, a little bit more maybe than my FZ actually. Maybe about the same as my wife's 400 as far as body positioning goes, but more relaxed. Like, the seat is so comfortable, it's like I'm sitting on a couch right now, to be honest. Now, as far as the suspension goes, it's got plenty of travel. It's like 5 inches in the front and 4 something in the rear with preload adjustment. It does have a dual shock rear, so that's pretty cool. You know, it keeps with that whole retro styling thing that they got going on there. Oh, there's a clock too. This bike makes me just makes me want to go like buy an old AM radio, or even better, a vinyl record player, and buy the latest Franz Ferdinand's but on vinyl, so I can keep that true, you know, that true sound to my music, and it doesn't have the soullessness of digital. Now, as far as general turn-in goes, it's nice and light. It's nimble at speed. I don't have any complaints on it on that part. Like, I feel like I shouldn't ride this on main roads. I should take this to, you know, roads that are cool, but you've probably never heard of them before. This does have ABS also. So, you know, you get all the cool little technological things on it that you don't necessarily have with the older bikes. And does still have that air-cooled like rattle to it, you know, that it's not really a rattle, but it's a distinct sound. It does not have a gear indicator though. I will say I like the engine braking to this thing. It's pretty sweet. A cool thing about Kawasaki, in all honesty, with this bike is they took this bike was like a competitor to the old British BSAs. So Kawasaki says, hey, we can make that exact bike, that exact look that everybody wants, but we can make it cheaper and more reliable. And that's what Kawasaki does. And you can't hate them for it. Kawasaki generally nails it with everything that they put out. Like, they don't halfway it. Honestly, I cannot hate on this bike. It's a very... I know I've been making hipster jokes this whole thing, this whole time. And there's going to be more, I'm sure. It is a really nice and comfortable bike. I cannot hate on it. Is it something that me personally I would want? No, but that's me. That's a personal like opinion. It's just not something that I'd like. I think it looks cool and it looks different. Big thanks to Wayne's for letting me ride this thing. Let me get out on one of these. I, you know, have never ridden anything like this before, so this is actually a first for me. And you know, while I make all the jokes and everything, yeah, it's a good solid bike from Kawasaki. After I park this thing, you know, I'm gonna definitely go get me a sitar, and I'm not really gonna learn to play it. I'm just gonna sit around tuning it and looking cool in my flannel, my skinny jeans, and my soy latte. And definitely gonna be looking at a apartment that's penthouse in an old warehouse, you know, like that just, I have to after riding this. There's no questions. But anyway, make sure to hit that like button, press the subscribe if you don't already do that, hit that bell so that way you know when I'm uploading. And until then, peace.